be seated. What a joy it is to be here at my home of the Church of St. Jude. At 8 o'clock, I didn't know where I was. But it is such a delight for me to be here with my St. Jude's family this morning. And so, life is short, and we do not have too much time to gladden the hearts of those around us. So be swift to forgive, make haste to be kind. Did I say that right? Don't you say this every Sunday? Every Sunday. Well, when I used to be here, Father Christopher would say this blessing: life is short, and we do not have too much time to gladden the hearts of those around us. So be swift to love and make haste to be kind. But I wondered, I said to forgive, and since I guess you don't hear it every Sunday, it didn't quite work, but that's okay. Be swift to forgive. Our text this morning talks about going to someone and telling them that they have offended you or hurt your feelings. And it's very clear. It says to go and talk to Nancy. Not to go and talk to Nancy and Ellie, but to go and talk to Nancy and say, Nancy, you hurt my feelings. And for Nancy then to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. For what? It gives us an opportunity to be reconciled and reunited in the bonds of friendship and love. That word love is the basis of forgiveness. And forgiving is not about forgetting. It's not about forgetting what happened, but it is about loving someone enough to be able to go and say, Nancy, you hurt my feelings. Too often, that isn't what we do. We go and we tell Rick, and we tell Angela, and we tell Janet, and we tell Wendy, you know what that Nancy did? That Nancy went and said that such and such and such and blah, 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 blah. And then Wendy and Jan and Rick say, you know, I know because Wendy, you can't, you know, she's always about buzzy, 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 buzzy. And what happens? Instead of spreading a fire of love in our midst, instead of spreading the good news in our midst, what begins to happen, words of destruction begin to separate us. Words that do not edify, but break down. They are not the good news. And soon when that kind of thing begins to happen, we become less of who God has called us to be as a people of faith. If I go to Nancy and say, Nancy, you hurt my feelings, and Nancy says, oh, Deb, I'm so sorry. I didn't intend for that to happen. Nancy and I now have an opportunity to be in right relationship. This walk that we are in is about right relationship, ordering our loves rightly. and being accountable one to the other. There's this song by Casting Crowns. They're a Christian, I think they might be a Christian rock group, but I'm not sure if it's a rock group, but it doesn't really matter. They have this song that is, because I want to make sure I get the words right. We speak the truth in love. It's not about pointing a finger. It's about an outstretched hand. When I come with an outstretched hand and not pointing a finger, the chances of me being reconciled with the person who hurt my feelings is greater. The person who hurt my feelings, if they welcome me with open arms, the chances of us being reconciled one to another is greater. But if I go to Nancy and I say, Nancy, you hurt my feelings, and Nancy says, oh, well, I don't care. That has nothing to do with me. You're just being oversensitive. I say, wow. So then I will ask for Wendy and Ken to come, and let's come and we're going to have a little conversation with Nancy. And we'll say, but Nancy, Deb is so hurt. Don't you see? And Nancy will say, oh, it has nothing to do with me. I have something on the stove. I got to go stir it. And I'm wounded. So then I have to come to the church. How many of us would come to the church and say, church, we need to go and talk to Nancy? How many of us would do that? Okay. We have a one hand in the back. We have a two hand in the back. The reality is not many of us would take that third step because we don't know if we trust and love each other enough that we are all holding each other accountable in the bonds of love through Christ. As the family of faith, as a community of faith, we are all walking this road together. We may not actually be holding each other's hands, but symbolically, we are holding each other's hands. And because of that, we should be able to come and say, okay, church family, we have a little problem with two of us in the family, and we need to fix it. We want to fix it. So that when we hear walk in love, we are actually walking in love and charity with one another. In this time that we are living in, especially the events of the past few weeks, I was thinking about a part in the Old Testament, two sections. One is in Judges, and it says, there was no judge in Israel, and the people did what was right in their eyes. And another section said, there is no king in Israel, and the people did what was right in their eyes. And I began to wonder if we had an opportunity to add another chapter to the Bible, and someone were writing about our time today, would they write, there was no love in the world, and the people did what was right in their eyes? Society would tell us, you get back at the person who did something to you. But we are followers of Christ, and Christ tells us that we extend our hand and not point a finger, that we give our brother or sister in Christ an opportunity to be bound with us in love. My sisters and brothers, this morning, I want to remind you about our time together. We only have a moment. That moment might be 24 hours, might be 365 days, but it is a moment. We don't have time to be out of relationship with one another. We don't have time to be about breaking down as opposed to building up. If we are out of relationship, we need to make the time to get back into relationship with one another. And so, life is short. We do not have time. How's it go? We do not have too much time to gladden the hearts of those around us. So be swift to forgive. Be swift to love. And make haste to be kind. Amen.
Amen.